Good morning, Kev. Good morning, Kevin. How are you this morning? Good to see you, friend. Any questions about things we want to cover during this morning session? Any questions while we get started? Any finger stretches or finger workouts that you wanted to specifically chat about while we're going through the warm-up? That would be wonderful to start with. I've been so excited about, good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Marlon, Mr. Grubbs. Good morning, Mr. Haas. Good morning, Mr. Smith. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Mark. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning, absolutely. I feel like over the past few days, I've been so excited, namely because Mr. 𝗏𝗏 is frequenting the live chat. Great improvement here. Yeah, good. I wanted to sneak up on some things. What we're trying to do here is work carefully and slowly and under a controlled sort of like, almost like clinical environment, if that can relate to the guitar, which it can, to get to the point where we can access some of the late great Mr. Alan Holdsworth fingerings and finger styling. So just take a little bit of the avant-garde approach to the guitar and then absorb a little bit of that. That's a little down the road, but I wanted you to know that we're setting up a framework where we hope to make that accessible, more accessible to myself, number one, and to others, number two, and to those who might be interested. I'm a very structured person. Yeah, Mr. I wanted to thank you all. I think I just dropped my pick. I wanted to thank you all yesterday for being so kind, being here and being so kind with our special guest yesterday, Mr. Scott K. Fish. And what a treat to have the old managing editor from Modern Drummer magazine here to talk about rhythm and some of those important things. So thank you again for yesterday, for being here with us yesterday and supporting the stream. Marlon Grubb says, how do you overcome the difficulty of standing and playing after practicing while sitting for so long? It seems like I know nothing when I stand. That's a wonderful thing to talk about today. Magic is happening. The more I practice, the better I feel all around. Isn't that funny how it goes? So today we might do some sort of forward bends too. Maybe I might encourage to get that lumbar stretched. And Mr. Fish was fantastic, great value. What a brilliant fella to have around, and so knowledgeable. And it was great to see members from Dennis here yesterday, and the whole power trio was here. Actually, we have Mr. Tortorello here right now. Good morning, Mr. Tortorello, and I wanted to thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for getting your bandmates in touch with Mr. Fish, and especially the drum, your all rhythm section as a power trio. It's just a really great little shot in the arm. So that's cool. So we wanted to think about a little bit. We're just trying to get access to some Alan Holdsworth style fingerings. Where we're sort of able to just working on the major arpeggios, minor arpeggios, diminished arpeggios, all on over the span of one string. through legato style of playing. But what we're doing is we're slowly sort of creeping up to it. One thing that I want to talk about, because Mr. Grubbs talks about this, and I know, Anthony, you must be practicing while you're standing right now, you know, more than you might usually. So one thing I recommend is, I like to keep my guitar, and then if you've been around, which you all have, I like to keep my guitar, so I'm going to stand right now. I like to keep my guitar, and I'll stand probably for the remainder of the session, but I like the guitar to be up here, you know, at the same level, so you can see that nothing changes between right here. You know, that all of the mechanics are the same, right? The guitar is a little low for me, actually, because it's got this strap is set for my Schecter, and then my green guitar, and this one is just probably one button too low. I like to play high, and for me, this is like how I like to practice while I'm seated. This is exactly the same mechanical angles that present when I'm seated as I practice. So if I'm playing a lot seated, I know that I don't have to change anything mechanically and relearn anything when I'm standing to play the guitar. So, you know, when we start working on these kinds of exercises, those major arpeggios, those finger patterns are going to be right there, even if we're practicing while seated. All of that stuff will transfer easily, because mechanically what we're going to do is maintain that straight angle from the elbow all the way through the wrist and all the way through these bones here. And the only time we start folding is, you know, let me just turn it around a little bit here. So we have this mechanical thing going on here. And typically, like earlier on in the stream, Mr. McWenna, or Mr. Werner, our friend, said typically if you're looking to really increase your stretching, like you're typically dropping the guitar way back here on the nape, on the back, your thumb way back here in the back of the guitar neck, and that's typically what is going to happen for me. So that's typically what's going on. I just love the mahogany, and the, you know, the Les Paul look without the arched top is kind of would like to have an arched top, but this is pretty cool though. All right, so let's start right out with, we'll get this chair out of the way because we won't be needing the chair today. And the other thing that I'm going to do, just bear with me for one moment, I've got to change another thing here. What I'm doing is I'm changing my stand that my other viewport is on, so that I might get the metronome closer to the screen here. So let's go ahead and start with fingers 3 and 4 warm up. I'm going to work on dialing in my breath here, and we're thinking just nice and slow. So 3 and 4 all the way up, position number 12 or 11. It's actually position number 9, isn't it? We ascend, descend the position, ascend the string set, descend the position, ascend the string set, descend the position, and then so on and so forth. 4 attacks per beat. Now, if this is too fast for some of us, I would recommend starting with us on a Monday morning, because we do 1 attack. We'll typically do a really meditative and slow rolling approach. Another thing that you could do if you wanted to join right now is to wait for this live feed to post, and then you can go back and watch it at half speed and play along. And it's just a great way to do it. You know, it's like what we used to do with the old cassette decks, and we used to try to slow everything down so we could learn everything 1 note at a time. 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a go E and a. And this is slow enough for some of us that we can really focus on breath. Standing posture. Maybe we're thinking about, you know, I'm standing on the top of a bunch of a big stack of amps. I'm getting ready to do the David Lee Roth, you know, jump off the top. And how am I going to land, you know, without injury to myself or others? So we're just working through the finger warm-up. This morning ritual is just so important to me, and I really look forward to doing this through the span of the year. I know some come here and some are completely perplexed by what it is we're doing. So what I would encourage any of you here in the early live chat is to, if we get some weird comments about like what is going on, if you don't mind, if you feel good about answering like why, the what and the why and the how, why are we doing this? So, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it, if you have an answer you'd like to supply, feel free. I don't want to restrict, you know, as long as it's sort of, you know, a meaningful respectful response. That's really all we're looking for. Is we're looking for those kinds of comments from the, you know, from the seasoned veterans of the channel. So 1 E and a fingers 2 and 3, same thing, frets 11 and 12. Marlon, I hope this is helping. Mr. Fish was fantastic. Morning, Anthony. Morning, Kevin. Morning. Yeah, you guys are on fire, Denim Dennis. That's absolutely. Hey, Nick. Jesus loves you too, friend. Yeah, correct, Raul. Hey, sweet child of mine. I'm gonna have to start hanging a little sign behind me, like a tip jar sign, like the recommended daily dosage for a request during this morning ritual. So I think, as much as I would love to just collect viewership based on, you know, taking requests, because I think that would probably be a door, you know, that, you know, opens a lot more viewership. But if you're just coming here, I really love that song like you wouldn't even believe. That's one of my all-time favorite guitar songs. Like, and I'm not sure how many others on this channel share that opinion, but I'm totally okay with sharing that opinion. It's just one of those songs that was a highly influential guitar tone and guitar, like everything about the song, you know, relating to the guitar. But I guess all of the pieces really made a lot of sense to a lot of us at the time. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and fingers 1 and 2. Ready? 1 E and a 2 E and a, here we go, E and a. I pray everyone reading this finds peace and joy in Jesus' mighty name. That's wonderful to hear, man. Thank you for sharing that. Chest? It seems too high. Well, that's a good question. So I used to watch a player like, you know, Mr. Alan Haldsworth. There were local players who like to and then, you know, some groups like to have a look, you know, so maybe the guitar being played low is a little thrashier, a little more culturally sort of responsive. You know, if I'm playing in Green Day, I don't have to be so technical, but I really need my arms to be here at the same height as when I practice the guitar. To, you know, so if I practice the guitar seated, I want all of those mechanics to be the same as when I stand. So I don't have to relearn how to play. It's super important, you know, and then plus if I keep my guitar low, you know, here's what happens if I keep it low. I don't know if I have a button down here. I do have a button way down here. So this is like, you know, where like a lot of the That's where like a lot of people will play, you know, a lot of my friends play at this level, and now like my wrist is totally hyperextended, you know, to play at the expense of my own personal physical health. I just, you know, I gave that up a long time ago. And for, you know, I probably sacrifice quite a bit of vanity in the name of physical and personal and mental and spiritual health and all of those things. I don't expect you to do the same thing. And nor do I need to justify my position, you know, with literally anyone else on the planet. But I do, you know, if in case you wanted to, you know, learn something new about guitar posturing, you know, if this is new to you, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. It's mechanically, this could be a little higher for me. It'd be right about here, so I can get, you know, get right into this bridge area securely over the, I'm trying to work around this part of the guitar, right? That's where I would prefer to be, but I'm a little low today even, so the chest height is actually a little bit low for me, believe it or not. So let's take a look at fingers 3 and 4 stretch. This is a typical thing. We walk through starting to, you know, to activate fingers 3 and 4, you know, the weak links, so to speak. And then what we'll do is we'll start to open those up and expand those and introduce a finger stretch here. So why don't we go ahead and proceed with that operation at this moment. So fingers 3 and 4, we have frets 10 and 12. We do this every 1 E and a 2 E and a, here we go E and a. We do this every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with the, you know, I'm kind of living under the impression that if I start with my morning guitar ritual, if I start the guitar in the morning, which I'm going to plan on operating on the guitar all day, right? So I have to warm up in the morning, otherwise it doesn't make any sense for me to warm up in the middle of the day. But, you know, I'm working on studio, I'm working in this, doing, you know, instructional things and then that kind of stuff. So I get this kind of done in the morning, and that makes me a guitar player. I feel like a guitar player all day because I'm thinking about guitar problems. You know, I'm thinking about what if I did this? What if this and else? You know, I'm able to use you know, different logic models to solve guitar problems over the course of the day. Just literally think. It's the same thing with songwriting, right? If you want to be a good songwriter, what do songwriters do? They write songs. Fingers 2 and 3, this is really my band here, so this is a tough one for me. So we've got, and also, it could be like I want to cover up my man chest a little bit more too. Get that out of the way. So it is a little bit like vanity still, but this cutaway could be a little bit lower for me and a little bit deeper, you know. That would be a nice refinement right here, just to get it down to that strap button and get it a little more concave in there. So that would be a major improvement for a person like me. So let's take a look at fingers 2 and 3, frets 10 and 12, same thing. 1 E and a 2 E and a down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, and again, if you're just tuning in, please stick around. You got to stick around for this. This is the morning ritual for guitar growth. And this is one of the things that we do in preparation for, oh, my fingers are falling apart here, in preparation for larger scale growth down the road. So these finger stretches are going to become really important for us as we start to expand away from this, above and beyond this stuff, into, you know, where we can play a full arpeggio, you know, on one single string. I was thinking today, I'm not sure if like 2-hand tapping is is, you know, at least 4-finger tapping or whatever, 5-finger tapping is sort of falling out of style or coming back into style. But I think one of those things that we all heard when we were younger, fingers 1 and 2, let's keep it rolling. So frets 10 and 12, same thing. 1E and a 2E and a TE and a faux-E. And one of the things that we did talk about a lot when we were first, sort of when the veil was lifting as guitar players, was the Eddie Van Halen, Mr. Van Halen's Eruption. And it's just one of those things that we take, we may have grown to take it for granted. But it may become useful to know how to use at least the index finger on the picking hand as another point of contact for fretboard usage. Yeah, so we do this every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all of 2025, and it feels like, you know, I'm definitely feeling the benefits from this, right? I'm definitely starting to, my left hand, my guitar person is definitely coming alive. And I hope that that's the case for you. So 1E and fingers 2, 3, and 4, and 4E and 10, 11, 12. This one requires a little more concentration on my part, because it feels like I'm doing 2 in my picking hand and 3 in my fretting hand. So I'm alternating between down and up, and then, you know, down is up. Down's the strong on one string, and then up is the strong on another string. So we're really focusing on balancing that picking hand. Ozzy. Yes, it's definitely more ergonomic having it up higher. Dodd, how you doing? Hi, Ozzy. Do you know 𝗪𝗵𝘁 from Indonesia? I'll check him out. I'll check it out. Do you recommend listening? Punk players are notorious for playing low to look cool, like Blink. You know, I loved that Blink record where it was like Takeoff, and then had a bunch of iconography on the cover, Takeoff, and then it was like Your Pants, and then there was a jacket on the cover. I just thought, man, what a great concept. And they just sound so good all the time. They just sound great. I love Blink, man. I love bands like that, like you wouldn't believe. Good morning, Uncle Jason. Yes, sir. That's going to stick for certain. Yeah, Uncle Jason is good. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and frets 10 and 12. Good morning, guitar for everyone. The story of that solo is great. Eddie sitting in the studio room by himself with the loudest Marshall possible improvises Eruption in one seemingly, yeah, what absolutely a gift. What a great player, what a great tone. And that tone definitely comes from the fingers, doesn't it? How long? We've been going 25, so after these threes, we'll go ahead and do the 2 stretches, you know, on fingers 2 and 4, and then we'll go ahead and take a quick break and take a quick breather. Did anybody accomplish anything cool on the guitar yesterday? We got a little bit more done on Still Neighbors last night, yesterday afternoon, and started a new track last night. Late, well, late for me is, you know, if I'm not in the rack by, I'm gonna be in the rack by, you know, 8:30 p.m. Otherwise, I'm a bear the next day. So really working on controlling the pick hand. Just trying to minimize the distance that I go beyond each string. Just to keep it under control. There we go. All right, let's do fingers. Everybody feeling good? All right, so let's go ahead and get a little bit of a shoulder stretch in here. And what I like to do is get that, you know, sort of like the upper part of just getting ready to do the forward bend, that kind of thing. Just get those shoulders rotating around. Nice breath in. Maybe we'll lock, maybe what we'll do is we'll interlock the fingers like this above our heads. You know, just don't hurt yourself. And then if your thumb's on the top one side, maybe we'll just do, maybe we'll change it up and then get that interlock the other way. Just give it a good stretch. Sometimes my shoulders don't work because I'm not warmed up to that yet. But fingers 2 and 4. Let's go ahead and do the old finger 2 and 4 stretch. Now what we have here, we have 2 frets between the fingers 2 and 4, and we are working up to some, you know, to be able to do this kind of work where we're able to play a, you know, a fret, you know, a root, a 3, and then a 5 on one, over the span of one string. Major scale, or major arpeggio, major triad. But we're, you know, some Alan Holdsworth stuff coming up in the future. So let's take a look at this figure 2 and 4. Joshua, good morning. Great to have you here again. Yeah, sir. Got a little farther in reading studies. Yeah, what are you working on for reading, if you don't mind us asking? Guitar for everyone. I practiced without anchoring my pinky to the body of the guitar. It wasn't as awkward as I thought it would be. It does take, it's like riding a bike. We were talking about this the other day. It's like, it's a little bit like riding a bike, you know. You know what it looks like because you've seen your friends do it. But when you get on it, it's a completely different story. And then eventually, you know, so long as we stick with it, eventually we're like, oh, crash and burn a few times, and then it's like we've got a few wobbles and we think it's going to fall apart, but then we can keep it together, and then the next thing we know, we're sort of like, hey mom, look, and then as soon as you turn around to wave, you eat your handlebars, you know. But it is kind of it's like riding a bike. One day you just kind of get it, and then it's about maintenance, right? It's about maintenance and then self-improvement. So we have this fingers 9 and 12, frets 9 and 12, fingers 1 and 3, 1 E and a 2 E and it will stretch after this. Sean L. Morning, Bubba. Hey, Mark. Good morning. I see you attempted to make a comment. Typhoon, that guitar is beautiful. Thank you. I wish I didn't make it, but it is made by a really kind of like reputable company that I really enjoy. started from scratch with Guitarist's Guide to Music reading by Chris Buono. Oh. Yeah, reading is a great thing to do. Like, you could get session work doing that, doing like, you know, developing that, honing that skill, like really just dialing in that skill of reading is just it puts us in touch with repertoire that we wouldn't otherwise have access to. Let's start with a stretch, just a simple, you know, just a straight elbow, and we'll pull back on the fingertips here. The fingertips are all, I'm grabbing all of the fingers so that way each one gets treated appropriately. And I'm breathing in through my nose, out through my mouth for like 15 clicks on each side. Both arms get an up and a down. I'll show you the down in just one moment. Mark, yesterday working on a new instrumental, ascending and descending octaves until thumb, pick, and fingers to practice alternate picking. Are you, this sounds like finger style, or is this, oh, thumb, pick. Okay, so thumb and pick together. Thumb is an index, you're gripping the pick, or are you using a thumb pick? Trying to stay in time, hit all the notes correctly. Yeah, good idea. And down looks like this, basically reciprocating the relationship, inverting it. And, you know, not pulling too hard, but just getting a good, thorough stretch. Reading 16th notes. Wow. Wow. Good for you, Joshua. That sounds great. I'll have to take a look at your channel. Do you have any videos on your channel? Josh, that's awesome. Good for you. Also recommend the book used by Berklee School, Modern Method for Guitar. There it is. Whammo. Bill Levitt, Mr. Bill Levitt. That's the late, great William Levitt. Wonderful stuff. Berklee Press is hard to beat, my friend. Using a thumb pick. Oh, good. Good for you. Right on. John Stewart, I do these stretches before playing cello. Oh, we've got a cellist in the house. Do you play guitar as well? And some of us here in this live chat might wonder if you're available for recording. You know? Some of us in this live chat are busy musicians. Some of us in the live chat are busy recording and busy making albums and busy touring and that kind of stuff. So always, it's always okay to promote yourself here. I know some of us don't like that. Sometimes I feel like it might hurt my ego. Like, if I'm not the lion, you know, the world falls apart. But I'm not Mr. Sensitivity like that. So if you have something going on that you feel is a gift that you can share with the world, I mean, why not, pal? Just do it. So if you have skills that might benefit others in this live chat, as you can see, the live chat for me for this small channel is really it's really banging. So to me, like, I can't even imagine. I set a goal for myself this year. It took me 3 weeks to write out the goal. I wrote it like a goal set, and then to the schedule that accompanies that, the day-to-day schedule. I wrote out a day-to-day schedule for myself. Like, we have to do it. I have to do it, otherwise it doesn't get done. Like, it's so busy. If it doesn't make it into the calendar, it like does not exist anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's just like one of those lives. So I built a schedule for myself, and I thought, geez, I'm going to be here anyway, doing my morning ritual and getting my stuff together for this other thing that I'm trying to do in 12 months. And I thought, well, why not like live stream it? Why not be here? Because if I wanted to do it, I'm not the only one thinking about improving myself, my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit, my guitar playing. I can't be the only one on this planet thinking about, like, there needs to be more interhuman, communication and around the craft of building the guitar life. It just seemed to me like there must be others out there, but I didn't know, and so I just gave it a shot. And it sort of blows my mind that others are just wanting to jump on the morning ritual, and do the betterment process. So without, sometimes I talk way too much. So let's go ahead and take 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we'll use that same 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise, we'll kind of do it like in a controlled environment. That was Mr. Spaz there, and it's just kind of like feels so much better to be in full control of what's going on. So I'm reminding myself to breathe. So let's go ahead and walk through this, and I'll talk to you about mechanically, biophysically, like what's going on for me. 1E and a 2E and a TE and a FOE and a 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm really working on a good day where I have no distractions, where I can really clear my mind. I'm focusing on breath. Before anything else. Still breathing out. Still breathing out. Breathing. Breathing in, but after you breathe out for so long, the first instinct is to, gasp for that air. But you don't need that air. I don't need the air. I learned this through marathon running, but just slow in and slow out. All of it's controlled, and we're using. It's like if you're, an endurance athlete. You're like a world-class endurance athlete. Your body you recognize that your body is using each and every single calorie that you're inputting, right? You know exactly where it's going, you know exactly what it's doing because you can feel it being used. It's the same if you're a gym rat, if you're, if you're working arms, if you ate the right stuff or drank the right stuff before your session work, right? So to me, breath is super important, but I can overlook that a little bit. And that allows me to get a little bit too excited, because of this live stream. So what I want to do, I don't want to give you the impression to follow any bad habits that I might be illustrating. So it's okay to remind me to take a moment to breathe. Do you know what I mean? That's cool to do that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and stretch finger 4 up to fret 13. 1E and a 2E and a you know what to do. And as a standing player, you can really explore physically what that means, what the lines that you're playing, what those things mean. A good friend of mine in Nashville, his name is Marshall Moody. He's a wonderful guitar player, but he is so physically involved in what he's playing. And I think you'd really appreciate watching some live footage of what he's up to. All right, so it's good to know that you're willing to let folks put themselves out there. I will do that when I start working on actual pieces. You should. Otherwise, like what's the point, right? The whole point is to you know, for me is to, there are multiple points here. Let me just jump back on position 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 2 𝗙𝗵𝘁. Thumb pick is a mystery to me. The thumb pick is a mystery to me too. I'm glad you said that. It's really something though, isn't it? You know, you see players, you know, that are really gifted at, you know, doing it, and you know, just spending the time with it. Part of the thumb pick to me is the fit. You know, do I want to use a metal thumb pick, or do I want to use what kind of tone am I really going for? Because I'm removing my finger from the situation. Do I want to use a plastic thumb pick? And all of the thumb picks I've ever used, right, they come long. They come like, you know, general, you know, sort of like a generic shape. And I've ended up like reshaping every single thumb pick I've ever used. I have a whole tray of them. You know, I've got a tray, you know, trays and trays and trays of different picks in the studio. And one or two or three or four trays is like different, you know, variations on thumb picks that we've crafted over the years. And so that's a really serious thing. That's an entirely separate discipline that if you're going to be here and you want to talk about thumb picking, we can do that. I'd love to have like a week. If we wanted to specialize and drill down on thumb picking for a week, that'd be super. And we might just do that. So keep talking about that, and keep that conversation alive, because that could help us all improve our, you know, improve our games. 1 E and a 2. Now we're kicking back to 8 for a first finger stretch. Oh, you'll figure it out, Josh. With the video stuff, you'll have some fun with it. Nice guitar. It's an Ibanez. It is an Ibanez Osnet. Thank you. John Stewart. I wish I played guitar. No, just so if you do play cello and you do, you know, you do make yourself available for session work. I'm sure there are musicians here who would love to send some tracks to you if you have your own studio or whatever. If you're laying down cello parts. Some of us love the cello. Yes, I'm available for recording! Alamo City Cello. All right. Is that your YouTube handle, John? Dan Husband. Good morning from Canada, right? Good morning, crew. This is the bad crew. This is the we're badder than bad. Nice to meet you, Josh. You have videos on YouTube or IG, John. It is John. Gotcha. And Flea. Good morning, all. Good morning. Thank you for being here with us today. And we are just completing up finger 4. You know, basically our morning ritual warm up, and we're moving on today to the diagonal pattern. If you're here, you've been here, and you know that this is going to turn into a sweep picking technique. So I'll just give you the technique so you can work on this drill. You can drill yourself so that when eventually we can all play this together. You know how I'm just looking at, you know, when you draw a bow. I don't know how many of you are, you know, archers, but when you pull that bow, you know, it increases in tension, and then when you let that go, you know, all of that tension releases, and the string, you know, the drawstring kind of goes over the 0 point and back, and then eventually pendulums, and you know, there's that math that eventually finds rest. This loading the pick to me is like that, you know. So I don't want to load up that. I don't know if you can see this pick or not. But if I don't want to load the pick to the point where I smash through to the next smaller string, I want to just get enough pressure on the pick so that when I drop through the string, I control the fall to the next string. And then when I get to the top of that string, I reverse the pick angle and then do the same process on the descending pattern, okay? For now, that's where we'll leave it. If you wanted to work that on your own time, you're more than welcome. I would encourage you to do it because we'll need that skill later on. But super, if you're on electric guitar with us today, it's super lightweight picking weight, super lightweight touch on the left, you know, the fretting hand. So we'll start with 1, 2, 3, 4 ascending, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 descending, and then we'll descend a position and then do, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we start with 4, 3, 2, 1, and then reverse that position to 4, 3, 2, 1. Descend a position, invert that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we go all the way down to position 1. And what we do is, you can see that I have 6 strings on this guitar. Some of us might have more, some less, you know, once in a while I'll bust a string and keep rolling. Top string group consists of 4 strings. The middle string group consists of 4 strings, and the bottom string group consists of 4 strings. String group 1, string group 2, string group 3. We'll start with string group number 1. 1 E and a 9th position, and a go E and a. Is 𝗵𝗶𝗴 a new live chatter here? 𝗵𝗶𝗴, we've seen you around before here, right? Joshua Barber. It's good to know that you're all willing to let folks put themselves out there. Oh, that's right. At John Stewart, got it. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate you. Thanks for being a good representative. Yeah. Joshua Barber, no videos yet, but no videos yet would be the way to answer that, right? All right, four middle strings, 1 E and a 2 E and a 4 middle strings, go E and a. And we're trying to be dynamic as possible. Some notes are soft, and they grow in loudness. Some notes may be ghosted. Some notes may be super loud, but either way, we're keeping that 60 beats per minute. And managing the left hand, you know, the fret hand and the pick hand, so that they, you know, crawl up and down the fretboard in a controlled manner. So the risk that I'm running into here when I start peeling backwards, when I take the 4th finger off, that's good. And then usually what happens when I take the 3rd finger off, the 4th finger moves a little more. And then I don't know if this is happening to anyone else, but if I remove the 2nd finger, then all 3 fingers are off, and that it just, you know, compounds, and it's additive to the point where now I need to go way back here, way back here to get that next fretted tone. So if I peel 4th finger off and keep it literally as close to the string as possible, and then not let it move when the 4th, as I remove other fingers, they all remain basically 1/4 of an inch or less above the string set. So that's really helpful for me to practice at these slower tempos, especially if we wanted to do you know, higher speed work, accurate work. John Stewart, thanks, Tortorello. All right, let's take a look at the bottom 4 strings, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a faux E and a. Joshua says, been working myself up to it, but haven't crossed that threshold yet. You will, and we'll be here when you're ready. You know, we're here every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as you may know. for the remainder of 2025 for the sole purpose of bettering ourselves as a guitar community and music community. Listen to your body while you practice. Good idea. Biofeedback time. This is awesome stuff. Listen to your body while you practice. So let's talk about it. Controlled breathing definitely makes things easier. Let's compare that discussion. Let's have that discussion to when you have that discussion with a horn player, like a jazz horn player that, you know, when they just go, eyes are rolled back in the head, you know, how do you have that discussion about breath with a horn player? What do they say? The responses I've gotten are that most of us don't think about breath, like who, you know, if we're not woodwind or, you know, brass players, there's a risk that we are not thinking about breath and focusing on breath, which influences our phrasing, our capacity for phrasing. So those spaces in between are important. But then there's this other issue where keeping your cardio separate from your mechanical practice might, you know, I've had guitar tutors like just kind of go like this, you know, where they're you know, doing the thing, and then they die early of some cardiovascular event. So I don't know if there's any correlation to, you know, hurry up and wait, you know, I don't know what that does to the body. I know I've witnessed it enough to be aware of it. And, you know, Michael's horn will probably be, you know, long notes, beautifully cyclical breathing. And I'm assuming that, you know, the whole person breathes. We're designed to breathe at a state of rest. We're designed to breathe a certain way as long as we're not being chased, right? We have a different breath pattern, but taking full advantage of the in and realizing our capacity there and improving our capacities there, as well as in the exhale, are all part of this situation. It's really cool that we have a cello, you know, a fretless player here. Let's go ahead and take a look at, we're running to the end of the hour, so why don't we do one more quick session of stretching so I can get through some of these comments. So John, thanks for being here, John. Thanks for being here, everybody. Actually, this is like, this is a good thing. It definitely makes things easier. I just recovered from a really bad arm break. Had to start over with playing completely. Man, good for you. I'm glad you're back. Mark, the one size of a the onesie and the twosies put on my shoesy. I love that. I love that count. Yeah. Putting on my shoesy. Yeah. Good. Very nice. Maybe we'll start using that if you don't mind. Man, it's cool. I actually helped my playing in a way. Those breaks always help. The break, no pun intended, right? No pun intended, but the breaks always help. John Stewart, I like this guy. I mean, there's so many people to like in this live chat. This, you know, I'm a little confused as to which one. Do you know what I mean? It's there's so many things to like about this. Some very encouraging. Joshua, John Stewart is how you practice the cello as well. This is the easy method of practicing scales is so beneficial. So if you start easy, right, many of the things he's doing, I also do on cello when I start practicing. However, he added some new dimensions for me to think about. So what happens to me, like if there's any tension, if I can recognize any tension in my body, it's so hard for me to do because I'm one of those people who can be like wound really, really tight. Do you know what I mean? The bull in the china closet in the office space or whatever. But it's it is one, and I'm happy to say that it's, you know, it's really important to say the things that need to be said and not to be afraid of the things that need to be said. I mean, we assume the consequences of things that need to be done, need to be said, and all of those things. But when I realize like the tension that's in my body, all of that stuff can be gone in like 1 or 2 breaths, and then I'm prepared to actually play the guitar. And then at a high level, like Petrucci isn't like, you know, he might look like, or, you know, some of the guitar player, the great guitarists and the great instrumentalists of all time, they don't have they're not focusing on the tense situations in their lives or in their bodies at the moment. You know, I have a bass player friend who will do this, like, you know, his whole jaw and body like clenches down, but he's a fantastic bass player, so he knows something I don't know, right? So I would probably learn from Dan, and I never ask him about it, and I'm not sure why. You know, I'm not sure if he's aware, but and the thing about a live stream like this, where you're putting yourself out there with no net, you can collect feedback, and sometimes it's unsolicited and totally unwanted, right? But it's there, and you know, you can take it or leave it, right? Stumbled. I stumbled on a good plastic one that wraps thick and fits perfect. Unbelievable. No kidding. Like, you didn't have to mold it or anything, Mark? Like, you didn't have to shape it or anything? Like, put it in some boiling water or whatever and let it kind of, you know, typically what we'll have to do is like boil the heck out of it, put it on the finger, and then suffer through the and let it dry, let it cool down, or put it in the ice bath or whatever, and, you know, temper it to the thumb. Those are really, really cool things to do. I don't know if you get into that geeky stuff, but I have friends who are totally into the guitar voodoo thing. Mark 𝗁𝗂𝗶𝘁, John Stewart. The first point of contact on the guitar, the pick is like the hairs of a bow. Yeah. There you go. Let's take a look at these. Let's keep the show moving, right? So fingers 1 and 4, we're just using this 1 minor 7 arpeggio. Actually, you know what? Why don't we do something we haven't done yet? Let's go ahead and do these, because we are working up to other things, right? Let's go ahead and do the 1 and 4 only. This is the only finger combination we haven't really worked on. So, well, let's do fingers 1 and 4, but this time let's do like let's give it a good little stretch. You can either stretch to 13, you know, do the 1, 2, 3 fret or 4 fret stretch, but let's calculate by the time we get down to first position, can we reach it? 1, 2, 3, 4 fret. I'm really working to get that, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 fret, right? So up here in position number 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 is really like a lot easier for me to do than it is down here, but I want that stretch. I want to get after it, and then you can see by the time I'm down here, like, I'm not pressuring my hand. I'm just, the most important thing for me is to remember not to ask. No, don't over ask. You know, over asking just ain't cool. Never been cool, never will be cool. Sometimes we got to do it, and sometimes you'll never know until you ask, but I want to not over ask my left hand, so my fret hand. So you can see where my thumb is on the back of the guitar neck, and it's typically between the median between fingers 1 and 4. So we'll finish up with this today, and then we'll start with let's start with 1, 2, 3, 4 fret stretch and see if we can keep it aligned all the way down. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. What are we? 9 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 and 14. 1 E and a 2. Oh wait, hold on. A onesie and a twosie and a putting on my shoesie. So onesie and a twosie and a putting on my shoesie. Yeah. I'm really having to focus on the distance between. Not overworking the pick hand is really important to me. I've got my hip kicked out to the side a little bit to make this geometry work, but it's working. Maybe we can get even more, you know, of a stretch by the time we get up to where the place from whence we came. We could also do this with a, you know, like this could be a nice little hammer-on session. The other thing that I really wanted to talk about before we wrap it up today is the use of the right hand finger tap, the index finger tap. So let's start with fret 2 on the A string. Trying to find pitches with the whammy bar isn't really the intent, but we have. I just had to cover a mistake. That's all. So here's the trick that I wanted to just kind of a functional trick. It's a function of A minor. So we all know A minor pentatonic. So this is a natural place to be, right, on the guitar. And we're just using one fret at a time. Flat 3, fingers 1 and 4 is the root in the flat 3, and then the 5 is right here on the same string. Now I wanted to introduce this kind of playing because we're going to, all of this work that we're doing is additive. All of this work that we're doing is we're building solid foundations that upon which we can build a solid edifice of music music technology and technique, and our own, aligned with our own goal system, right? So I know this is sort of basic for some of us, but to do this again as if it were the first time, I'm placing my thumb on the top of the guitar neck. My picking hand thumb goes on the top of the guitar neck as an anchor point. Now this is one of the rare times that I'm going to anchor my right hand, just for the sake of getting that accuracy developed for that hammer-on. It's just a hammer-on with the index finger on the picking hand. And I'm hitting fret number 9, I'm literally hammering fret number 9, and then I'm coming to, you can see that index finger kind of start slipping. My fingernail's in tough shape. You can see it's ramped, but my fingernail is, my finger's trying to slide off of the string without pulling it out, up and out of tune. So I have to angle my finger down so I can allow it to slip from underneath the finger. This can take, I think I remember the first time I did this could take a little bit of time to cultivate, right? If you're here and you want to help us get over 20 likes, that'd be great. Seriously, like if you're here and you think you can hit the like button on the video, we definitely appreciate it. We try to keep that like at a 20 is our sort of like benchmark. And if you can, if you like what's going on and you think you have other friends, like we have cellists on the live chat this morning, like cellists that are literally willing to do some tracking with us on recordings, like as we build our albums. You know, I can almost guarantee that cellist knows other string members in his section, right, or his or her section. So, I mean, gang, let's. I mean, we've got a really, really cool thing. This is beyond my wildest dreams, right? And I'm so happy for those of us who might be recording records at the moment, because now we have these communications that are starting to expand, right? And so I'm just so happy for all of you, and I can't wait to hear what you create. I just can't wait to see this stuff show up on your, you know, on your YouTube channels and on your socials and on the, the Apple Musics and all of that stuff. So anyway, so fret 1, I'm using finger 1 on fret 2, hammering on to fret, a solid hammer on fret 5 on the G string. So there's a hammer, hammer, and then hammer. And then what I do to reset the pattern is we use the 1, flat, 3, 5. And this is the 3 fret up to the minor third, and then we have a major third on the top. 3, 2 whole steps, minor, 1.5 steps, and then 2 whole steps. So a minor third on the bottom, which makes this, basically A sad, right? Instead of A happy. So we have this nice sequence. This is all we're doing. 1 click, 1 attack per click. Just trying to keep everything in tune. Sometimes I'll pull myself out of tune, and I don't, as long as I can recognize that I'm doing that, I can correct it. And this is just super simple. And this is the beginning of where we start building this kind of thing up in our lives, right? And re-establishing our relationship with two-hand tapping. All right, let's go through some of these questions, because I know Kevin's got to jump. Kevin, if he hasn't already jumped, he's going to jump shortly here. And Kevin is a dear live chat friend here, so if we could all say when he signs off this morning, if he does announce like he usually does, if we could all wish him a wonderful day, that would be super. I would just be a really cool thing to see. But if we can't, that's cool too. I know we all appreciate him being here. Cello, many of the things he's doing, I can also do in the cello when I start. You're opening up new dimensions, like thinking as the pick, as the hair of the cello, the bow of the cello. Wonderful perspective here. From the Philippines, yeah, right on. Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you too. Thank you for being here. Your woodwork looks really nice in the background. Hey, thanks. This is my son's woodwork. He's 24 or something like that now. But he did this. You can see his photograph of himself and his dog back there. A couple of things hanging up on the wall back there. But really good kid. Just what we like to call in the family. We like to call him a keeper. Great technique, is doing simplest things very well. That's a great comment and wonderful insight, for all of us to hear repeatedly. Dan Husband, that's great, and congrats for making it to the promised land. Oh, did I missed something. I missed it. I don't know how far back I had to go. I missed it. I'm sorry I missed it. Oh, I retired 5 years ago and now live in a very rural area outside Ottawa. Really enjoy these morning sessions for the feeling community that I left behind. Oh man, I mean, if there's anything to make a grown man cry in public, it's that. I mean, you gotta stop that, man. You gotta cut it out. I don't want to be a big wimp on. All right, what is your most common played genre? Like a student request, or is it like a primary sort of on jazz and contemporary music and a performance concentration? So I would say the language of jazz, like the language of music, is a general interest. If I was to specialize into like whether I wanted to wear what for a wardrobe if I wanted to put a, you know, a suit tie on and bang out some bluegrass flat picking stuff on a stage. Prepared to do that. I love to do that. If I'm wearing a, you know, suit tie and a cocktail lounge with a, you know, an arch top, I love to do that. If there's, you know, if I wanted to put on the black leather and the spandex, there are opportunities to do that, and I'd love to do all of that. I mean, it's just so. But what I'm finding, Mr. Fish, after Mr. Fish left, we broke here yesterday, went down to the studio, did some more work, and what we found yesterday is there's only so much time. There's only so much time. You can't replace the time, right? Time. There's time and talent. The talent is up to me to literally up to you and me to develop for ourselves, but we can't replace the time that we spend. So I need to keep these sessions on track, on time, because I know your time is irreplaceable. Like we've been so graciously on the receiving end of it's like super chats, and we certainly appreciate super chats and any kind of funding you can afford, but I don't mention it. The thing that's the most important contribution you can make to this live stream is your seat time, right? Your seat time is irreplaceable, right? The choice for you to be here, whether you choose to be here or not, is irreplaceable. Like the cash will come and go, but your time is not coming back. So just keep that in mind, whether you decide to keep coming, right? It's important, you know, for me, and I don't want to underappreciate the value of your time. So that's probably all I'll say about that. But I'm happy that you're here with us, Dan. And congratulations. Well said. Your point is most good technique, doing very small thing, simple things. Great teacher, man. Thanks for everything. Thank you for being here, Mr. Stewart. We really appreciate you being here. And if you stick around, you know, you're going to have to train us. You're going to have to train us a little bit to, you know, when we get to a certain point in our writing, or we get into the certain point in our, you know, our recording contract or recording, whatever, however you do your recording business and stuff. When we get to the point where we might think of, hey, we could really use a cello. Do I want to use like the, you know, the string set from Complete, or, you know, the Logic string set, or do I want to, you know, ship a few files over to John and see if he can, you know, if he can make something happen, you know, as a human being, you know. So you're gonna have to train us a little bit to remember to call you. I know you're just coming and stuff, and I don't know how much you really actually want to do it, but that's a gift, right, that you can share. Cleanliness, clean as a whistle. Good coordination between right and left hand. Wonderful stuff. Guitar Kid, sup? I'm Guitar Kid. Good morning, Guitar Kid. Do you want to keep your fingers near? Thank you for being here, Guitar Kid. Do you want to keep your fingers near the string if you're playing fast? But if you're playing slow using vibrato, then you want to lift your fingers off the string. So here's vibrato for me. Like I'm looking at the B.B. King vibrato. So vibrato, the way that we perceive, the way I was taught, like, and the way we perceive tone, right? This is a great conversation. So I'm sorry to keep you if you're still here. Our live stream, our morning ritual has now concluded. And I'm just going to finish getting through these comments. So you are absolutely more than welcome to stay. I'd love for you to stay, but totally understand if you've got to jump and get on with your next obligations. And I would encourage you, I'm not staying here to try to pull you away from that. If you can't be here anymore, get out of here. And we'll see you tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll stay on track, right? We want to stay on track. I can't repeat that enough. So don't let me hold you. But I really want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow at same bat time, same bat channel, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Jason Carey Guitar. And I see Kevin. I saw Kevin. Yep. Have a great day, everybody. Until tomorrow. See you, Kevin. Tell Dad we said hi. Oh, dude, good commentary right there. You are so right on it, Anthony. Thanks, Anthony. All right, so let me have a wonderful time, Kevin, today. Enjoy your day, man. All right, Guitar Kid, if you're new here, you I think I've seen you around, but if you wanted to continue with the live chat, that's great. Do you want to keep your fingers near the string? So here's the vibrato technique we were talking about. So what happens, let's just use the 12th fret because it's right in the middle of the string and in the middle of the scale length of the string. So on the guitar, I don't have those frets, right? Those pesky frets. So if I'm thinking guitar, like a tone to me is in tune or it's out of tune, sharp or flat. When I vibrato like this, you know, or whatever. Anytime I wiggle the note up and out of tune, our ears perceive that as out of tune, right? And for some reason, when we come below if you get enough friction on the string, you can literally loosen the string. It doesn't work so well on a floating bridge, but on a hardtail guitar, you would hear the note sort of just slide underneath its original pitch, and we don't perceive, for some reason, we don't perceive that dip in pitch underneath the original tone as out of tune. But when it rises up and above, we perceive it as out of tune. So I try to work on, the vibrato where, let's click the delay off here. You can hear a little bit of a dip here on this guitar, but on a Strat, a guitar with a fixed bridge, it's more clear. This one is compensating for any of those bends, so I'm not really able to illustrate that correctly. But how do you work with that on, like, is that consistent with your understanding, John, Mr. Stewart? It's amazing how much playing a fretless instrument is like kung fu. Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, right on. I love this live chat. Yeah, if there was a Shaolin temple around here, you bet I'd be there, working on the kung fu. I don't really have a great kung fu. There's no masters in my area, so I don't, CCN Death Row, can you teach me blues solos? Yeah, you're in the right place. You were absolutely in the right place. Hang out for a second, and thank you for being here. So no doubt, Mark, super not easy. FS Audio guy, nice guitar. GM from Virginia. So we got a, it's like the RG or HF blah 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 420. It's an Ibanez. It's a really fun guitar to play. That mahogany back and flame maple front kind of is reminiscent of the Les Paul, right? And a similar binding style. Mark didn't amazing, and it's another name brand on it, but of course it's modified flipper a little bit. Plastic, okay. It didn't, it's amazing, and it didn't have a name brand on it. Okay, of course, I've modified the flipper a little bit. Okay, got it, you're talking language. I've modified so many plastic finger picks and thumb picks, and I've had to put so you're really into it. So I'll have to check out your channel just to see what it is you've been working on, and for which picks for which fingers it's. Oh, okay, got you. Okay, so you're really paying attention to. You're being careful. You've got a scientific approach to this. But I'm sticking with a thumb pick, natural fingers, and see where that takes me. So I was into I was really into fingerstyle for a long time. And so I started with the Pierre Ben-Suzanne sort of approach, where I'd use what is super glue for these, because these always break. Like I'll have a weak spot in like this fingernail, and it will kind of like start to work away, so the whole end will fall off. So I've started to reshape things based on not wanting that to happen. If I'm washing dishes, helping out the lady of the house here, and we work on all of this stuff together. We cook together, we clean up together, and all that stuff. So maybe she'd have a similar story about that, hopefully. But I like to wear gloves on my hands, so I try not to soak my fingernails in water too much. But I use the super glue and sodium bicarbonate. So I'd put with a needle, I'd apply the super glue, and then dip my finger in baking soda, and then, you know, sort of put a little super glue over the top of that again, and then start to shape that with a really fine fingernail file, and then do, you know, repeat that. So I have 3 or 4 layers of that, and then at the end polish it up, and then work on shaping the finger, and then polishing all of that, and you can get a really, really great, smooth, not, you know, smooth, error-free fingernail that way. That's really, really great for finger style work. And everyone does it a different way, but that's one way. It took a 3 or 4 5-year period to really work on getting that dialed in. And I have friends who use ping pong balls. You know, it's really great to talk about this again, because that's coming up, and there's a finger style week, a finger picking week coming up, and maybe we start working on keep talking that talk about using finger picks, because there's a lot of repertoire that we want to go after with finger picks on. So you can help us work on specializing in that area on them, for which picks thumb natural pickers. Okay, Jonas, thanks for being here. So 5 frets apart, that's all. That's right. Yeah, that's the spirit right there. That's what we're looking for. It may be helpful at some point to start referring to these fret exercises by their interval distances, major second, instead of 2 frets. That's good. Those things we want to do, we want to be able to call this for what it is, right? We want to be able to call that, you know, a C to D, you know, or do to re, or 1 to 2, or a whole step, or a 2 fret, and all of those basically are the equivalent, right? They're so that language I will try to use like we've been talking about guitar technology for a lifetime together, and then maybe we'll just intervallic. I think as we start approaching, you know, more complicated things, we'll start working on intervallic study. That's a good point. Yeah. Really good point. So 2 whole steps, or major third, or 1.5 steps, or minor third, and we can start drawing conclusions between those things, and that's definitely worth. Those are good things to think about moving forward. Felix, hello, 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁. All right, hello. Mark LOL, Susie, nice touch. I'm missing a little bit, but that's okay. Bernard Artis. Hey Bernard, what's going on? Good morning. Yeah, we're wrapping it up, but glad to see you here. We're going to be back, and we're finished with the morning ritual, and we're just kind of like doing the residual sort of hangout, and then we're just getting ready to jump for the day. But glad to have you here, and see you again tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. maybe Eastern Standard Time. 𝗵𝗡, I like the interval idea, Anthony. Yeah, Anthony is full of good ideas. We've got Marlon, Kevin Haas. So far, everybody's kind of just been really great contributors to this effort, right? A rising tide floats all boats, for sure. So, see you, Kevin. All right, Kevin, have a good day. Have a great day, everybody. Until tomorrow. See you, Kevin. Tell Dad we said hi. Crazy Dawa, hello. Yeah, nice to see you again. All right, got to roll. Grateful for the session. So glad they repost so I can catch up later. Thank you again. Have a great day. You too, man. Take care. Take good care of yourself, Mark. And see you, Mark. Great. Well done. Well done, Joshua. And we're down to the last few comments, and then we are going to call it a wrap for today. Bernard Artis, do you spend any time on acoustics for lives or all electric? Well, that's a great question. This is week number 2 of Electric Week. So we extended Electric Week into this week from last week. And we have very exciting electric relationship brewing here. But we've started the season with acoustic guitars, 6-string acoustic guitars, and we'll likely be coming back to that next week. And we have some fingerstyle stuff that we're working on. We have some, we'll continue to refer back to all of the instruments that we might come in contact with in our profession or our hobby, which is, you know, acoustic guitar, 6-string, with alternate tunings occasionally. The drop D is especially one, dad gads, the open Gs, open Es, open drop Ds. We have electric guitar. We have hardtails like Strat style or S style or T style, Telecaster style guitar, or you know, the whammy bar, the Super Strat style guitar with the floating bridges. And what we'll do is we'll keep coming back. We'll keep all of these tools in rotation. And tomorrow we'll announce what's coming up next week. We'll likely poll where we're going next week. But I have a feeling fingerstyle is coming up. We're going to specialize on a week worth of just focusing on right hand breathing, tuning up right hand work, just right, you know, or not right hand, but pick hand work. So fingerstyle, just forward rolls, reverse rolls, combination rolls, and then some Travis style picking and those kinds of things that we might want to just get together. And maybe we can, they're just specific to warm up. So there's, again, we're not necessarily working on pieces of music, just getting the mechanical game together, getting the juices flowing, so to speak. That's what this morning ritual for guitar growth is designed to do. So we develop the tools so that we can take our own games and goals further. Okay. Do you spend any time? I do. We all do. We all spend time on acoustic. We all love it. Just changed my bending vibrato recently. I've really started to try and use my hand muscle more than thinking finger being a big change. So one of the things like that Mr. Clapton and Mr. King used to do, the late great Mr. King, B.B. King, yeah, use this, you know, this knuckle as sort of a pivot point. So you keep this finger rigid, and then you kind of fan your hand away from the guitar, like you're putting out a flame, you know, putting out a fire, or fanning your face. It's hot out, you know. Wow. It's not exactly the same thing, but you get the idea. And then having that vibrato be in tune. If you're using a half step bend or a quarter step bend. You know, all of that microtonal work we love to talk about here. And definitely love working on blues techniques. So let's talk a little bit about, someone asked about blues, so I'm going to talk, we'll close it up with some blues, okay? I haven't tried fingernails much, but love fingerstyle, 𝗵𝗡. I just always felt fleshy part added better tone. Yeah, I mean, it's totally I mean, everyone does it differently. And you know, especially when you build the calluses on the picking hand, when you have the fingertips that have hardened, the soft fingers, those hard fingertips, you know, some like that dry roasted sound, you know what I mean, and some like that soft, you know, very soft fingers, don't have any calluses on it, just sort of very sensitive light approach. And it really is what you decide to maintain, and the sound that you develop your own sound through the cycle of practice, right? So you're going to find your own voice along the way. But all of these comments in the live chat and this live feed really just kind of make us go, just give us a quick think. So this is great. All right. Hello from North Carolina, Annette. Good morning. Good morning. Happy to have you here with us. If you're just tuning in, we're just about to wrap, but tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're back again for a morning ritual for guitar growth. We have a lot of great players that show up for this live stream, and we all bring a guitar. We all go through breath work together, and we tune up the guitars together, so you don't even really need to come and tune. We'll tune up together, then we start working on mechanical process of integrating breath and our tuning process into our expanding into our, you know, a general awareness of mechanical process on the guitar. So this is free for all of 2025. It's every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Do you know the song, My Sister is My Mother, My Brother is My Father, My Nephew is My Son, and it's done? I know this thing called, This is the Shortest Song in the World. I know that one. That's a good one. And Ivan, thanks for being here, and thanks for bringing that to life. You know, thanks for being here, and hopefully see you again tomorrow. I think it's a perfect way to approach it daily for everyone to be able to practice at any level. Tools to warm up and jam and create. Yeah, and it's here, you know, if you know, there's no, you know, locking you in, you know, you come and leave as you want, communicate as you want. We've been working hard to develop a culture of respect in the live chat, and so far it's been really, really great, a really, really awesome experience. I've got to get going only because I know how valuable your time is, and I want to try to keep this from 7:30 in the morning until 8:30 in the morning, because your time is irreplaceable, right? Your time is not, it's nothing you're going to get back. So what we want to do is just focus on that kind of continuity of quality and our approach. Ivan, I think that's I'm my own grandpa. That's good. Click. Oh, drive you insane in the studio for a drummer. I did it anyway, that freaking metronome. You know, yeah, that you raised a good point. Like we had the old managing editor from Modern Drummer magazine here on the live stream yesterday. So if you missed it, you can go back and check it out under the live session, the live tab, and it's yesterday, Scott K. Fish. We talked about it. Like Mr. 𝗫𝗫𝗀𝗃, like was totally driven by the metronome. Like he had to practice and live with the metronome, because all of his songs, anytime Rush would play live, like I don't know if you knew this, but like he was the lyricist. I didn't know this. Like he was the lyricist. He'd ship song lyrics to Mr. Lee and Mr. Lifeson, and then the two would sort of work out parts and music, and then they'd bring it together as a band, and then the song would form, and he'd write the drum parts. He'd play the same drum part and dial it in, and they'd record it, and then when they tour, like all of that stuff, all of those, you know, you know, that drum solo is all done to like a click track, and it's like just mind-boggling. I don't just walk on stage and play to a click track or record to a click track, because unless I've been practicing with a click track. And you're right, Ivan, it drives some of us completely bonkers, you know, completely nuts to do it. But it's something that we are going to live with in this morning live stream, for better or worse, and it's always for the better. But it's 60 beats per minute. So if you're practicing on your own, if you grab one for yourself, it's 60 beats per minute. And then, you know, I know you're familiar with the metronome and stuff. So, but that's what we're working on here at the morning live streams. And I appreciate your commitment to the metronome. click, I guess. Yeah. I'm turning in for a few minutes before you go there, man. Had a few seconds, wave my hand over here, and oh yeah, Georgia, nice to see you, Georgia. Yeah, thank you very much. Some love the metronome and some hate it. I like it. 𝗫𝗀𝗃 is insane. Yeah, the late great Mr. 𝗫𝗫𝗃 was quite. He's the reason a lot of us play music, right? Even if we're not drummers. Yes, Neil was the best in my book. That's just me now. There's a bunch more guys that are great, even locally guys. Oh yeah, all right. If you wouldn't mind, come back with us again tomorrow. Maybe we can develop these relationships over time. Okay, that'd be great. All right, Dylan Close, Georgia guitar, gorgeous guitar. What is it? I've got Georgia on my mind, you know. It is a, I get it, I really do. It does help us for our timing. Yeah, it's enough to, you know, make a grown man, bring a grown man to his knees though. The guitar is it's an Ibanez, it's like an RG series. It's like a high, maybe HG, blah, 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 something, some number, or letter, and it's like a 420. But it's that, you know, these are, you can find these pretty cheap, I think, on Amazon. I just can't get over the back. It's like a, you know, it's like a Les Paul back and a Les Paul front without the arch top of, you know, the arching, of course. And it's got the Les Paul binding on it. It's like, the neck is really cool. Here, let me just do this. Let me just show you the neck. The neck is really cool. It's not like, you know, it's not a prestige guitar, but it's good for like, it's super good for like, I don't know, $800, $600-800, something like that. You can't beat it. I prefer the you know, you've heard me say it before, I prefer the Ibanez like licensed, the Floyd Rose, but the edge tremolo, because this tail fin kicks way up. It's like I'm always in the wave, you know. I'm always in the curl, and it's kind of getting in my way, you know what I mean? So that low profile edge tremolo, that all of this is gone. You still have the tuners and stuff on the edge, the low profile edge tremolo, but they're way down here, and you know, I definitely prefer that. But you know, we all make concessions for certain things in life, and this might be one of those things. RG yeah, right, Super Strat. I get it. Metronome, it's beautiful. That rosewood is beautiful too. Oh yeah, yeah. It's a cool little rig, you know. It's a cool rig, and it's just got a pointy headstock. It's got pointy little things on it that, you know, really spoke to me in an earlier stage of existence, and they still speak to me now. So, all right, that's about it for today. I hope everybody got what they needed out of this today. The food, the manna, the food that we needed to continue on and continue just getting the things done, doing the guitar work that we were called to do, and doing it with a smile and with grace and with fervency and zeal, and for the instrument and for the people around us, for the world that we're writing these, playing the guitar for our own person. There's so many reasons, you know. I forgot to set my intention again today. I'll set it again tomorrow. Remind me that we need to set our intention. Like, today I'm going to focus on breath, or today I'm going to focus on how do I make the world a better place through the art of playing my guitar. Okay, or the craft of playing, whatever. We want to make intentions, I think, or daily devotions, I think, part of this too. So, or I do. You don't have to. You do whatever you want. But I'll see you tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And 𝗵𝗡, I appreciate this too. See you, everybody. Thanks again for taking such good care of each other. And we'll see you soon. And until we meet again, I wish you